So, Johanna, do you want to go first and please introduce yourself and what you do?
Yes, sure. I'm Johanna Ljunggren. I'm the head of sustainability at Kinnarps, and Kinnarps is a family-owned company, as we heard was good from Eric from a sustainability point of view. And we design and produce furniture for offices, for care environments, and for educational environments. And we help our customers from start to finish with the analyze of the needs of an office space, for example, up to the delivery of a finished interior solution, and with services that are connected to that as well. And we have our production in Sweden, where our focus is to design furniture of as low environmental footprint as possible, and that are of high quality, that has a long lifespan. And in our work to do so, we think that circularity plays a vital role. And that's also why I brought this, because this is our circular packaging, also very tangible then, connected to packaging material. But we use these blankets instead of one-time cardboard boxes. And after delivery, we take them back and reuse them over and over again, so circulating them. And that saves us approximately 270 kilos of packaging material in each container. And it actually also saves space, and thereby also we can fit in 50% more furniture by packing them with this. That also saves transports and climate impact as well. And we've done this since the late 50s, so that was long before anyone talked about circularity.
Yeah.
However, circularity is of course still a focus of ours today, focusing on designing products that are fit for circular flows of high quality and easy renovated or updated, for example, and also services to make that happen in reality as well.
Thank you. Looking forward to dive into that a bit more. But first, Marcus, can you also tell me a bit more what you're doing?
Yes, I can. Yeah, Marcus is my name, as has been said a few times. I look after H&M's public affairs and sustainability work in Region North, which means Northern Europe, including, of course, then the UK. You might have heard of H&M. It's a company that was founded in Sweden in 1947 by Mr. Erling Persson. He had an idea about democratizing fashion. Fashion wasn't available for the many back in the 40s. So he said that this is something I want to do and make affordable fashion available for more people. I'm not going to go into every year from then until now, so I'll fast forward until the 90s, when sustainability, or CSR as it was called then, became more and increasing important for H&M, knowing that the industry that we work in has an impact on social issues and on climate issues. So we started looking into that. In 2003, we had our first CSR report, or sustainability report. So we celebrated 20 years this year. Today, it's fully integrated in our annual report. And the sort of reporting and the targets you have are in accordance to very many abbreviations: TNFD, TFCD, DD, OECD, and many others. Today, we of course see sustainability as a super important part. Again, we know the impact that we have as an industry. We also talk a lot about circularity, trying to be more circular in the business models that we have and how we approach our customers. But still, it's also about making sort of liberating fashion for the many, but still doing it in a more sustainable way today than maybe in the 40s. And this is a road that we take very seriously, and of course are even trying to do our utmost to improve.
No, thank you both so much for being here. And I actually wanted to follow up directly on what Eric was talking about regarding that when it comes to packaging, for example, that most consumers focusing on that, even though it maybe is of a lesser importance for the overall impact. If I start with you, Marcus, what would you say in terms of clothing and the H&M customer? Are there any particular areas that your customers are especially interested in? And maybe some areas that are a little bit more hidden that you think people should care more about?
I think Eric had a good point, and the things that our customers are mostly interested in is affordability.
Yeah.
To have affordable clothing. We see that especially now in the sort of financial and economic situation that we're seeing in the world and the recession that we're going into. Apart from that, a lot of discussions lately, I'm sure you've seen, has been sort of what's happened end of life with the products. what's happening with clothing when we are done with them, and how we go about trying to figure out ways to, again, as I said, be more circular. Can we recirculate this somehow to reduce our impact? So that is it's a very strong focal point for our customers. What we, again, I feel it's like I'm almost echoing everything Eric said, but what they're not interested in is all the work that we put in upstream in our supply chain. All the things we try to decarbonize our supply chain.
So like water and so on. Water,
CO2 emissions when it comes to production, material production, fabric production, all of these things that has a major impact for us. If you look at that garment, the major impact comes from that part of sort of the value chain.
Yeah.
I forgot to say that I also brought Showcase. It's what I'm wearing. This suit is of course from H&M, and it contains recycled polyester. And also I'm wearing shoes from another brand that comes from plastic collected from the ocean. So the whole industry is actually taking this responsibility, which I think is very important.
Yes.
Because we cannot rely on a few companies to do this. So we need to do this as an industry-wide initiative. And therefore, going back to, I was listening to, I think it was Einride, Pia who was talking about politicians, and she was, I'm paraphrasing, and sorry if you're not here to defend yourself, Pia, but she was like, we don't really need the politicians, we need to do stuff. From my perspective, working towards consumer in this industry, I say we need the politicians. We need level playing fields, we need clear rules to set the baseline for what we need to do. Because we are doing it. Of course, I'm saying that information. We are doing it. A lot of other businesses in the textile industry is doing it, but we need everyone to do it. Because otherwise, customers looking for affordability will then move their focus to other companies who are not pulling the weight, not paying for emissions. So it's super important for us what the politicians are doing.
And we of course see that as well, that there are more and more fast fashion companies coming with extremely unsustainable models that are actually still selling a lot. So yes, I understand there that it needs to be kind of leveled.
Just a quick side note, of course, we do not try to talk about the fast fashion company. We use affordable clothing. So yeah, it's a side note. We try to.
Very important though, yeah. But regarding the kind of the circular economy as well, of course, that means saving in the long term for customers. And you also work a lot with B2B customers. Is it easy making people understand that they will actually save, even though it might be an additional cost in the beginning or initially, but it still will save over time? How is that communication going?
Yeah, it's sometimes a challenge. It's quite logic, really, but it's about shifting focus from price here now to cost over time. And that in terms of both economic cost, your budget, but also very much the sustainability or environmental cost also. Because when we look at a use of furniture, the best way to reduce the environmental impact is to ensure that the piece of furniture has a long life, and that if able to prolong the life of the product even more. So yes, absolutely, that's a very important aspect of it.
And you look already in the design space for this, right?
Yeah, it's very important to, first and foremost, having a product that is of high quality. That is a prerequisite for a long product life. And when we talk about furniture, that it should withstand the wear and tear of being used, and especially in the environments that we supply to for offices and for schools and care homes, for example. But then also, in order to be able to prolong the life of the product in an cost-effective way that will be done in reality, the design of the product needs to be in a way that you can easily change parts, for example, change if something is broken, but also very much if it's to change part in terms of updating it, making it look like new, or changing the surface in one way or another. That could be, for example, when we talk about furniture, to have removable fabrics. That means that if you have a sofa with a removable fabric and you want to update it, you don't have to transport it anyway. You can just take the reupholstering and doing it on site. You don't need any specific skills to do so, any craftsmanship. And that is a very cost-effective way to update the product. So if you have designed the product and if you have chosen a product with those features, that will enable you to do cost-effective updates later on as well.
It's also a lot about making the sustainable choice also the most exciting choice, of course. And
Yes.
there, I think you have done so many good things as well when it comes to conscious collections and other initiatives. Can you talk a bit more about that as well, making people more engaged about the sustainability choices?
Yeah, I mean, we as I said, we're looking into sort of different circular business models going forward, and of course, the most easy one to talk about and the one that's maybe most accessible is resale or secondhand sales.
Yep.
Where we both have it in store, mainly our portfolio brands, but I think it will open here in London in a few weeks' time on Regent Street, just a stone throws away.
So many news here today.
I know, it's like, are we watching the news or are we watching the conference? I don't know. But with that said, we also have, I mean, we use online platform. We have this is called Sellpy, where it's a consumer to consumer secondhand platform, where you in an easy way can sort of close you're done with. You can put them in a bag, it gets picked up, it gets sorted, and the things that are deemed to be able to be sold again will then be put out on the market. You don't have to deal with tricky buyers and stuff like that. You can leave that all to Sellpy. We also have something called a fund, which is sort of an outlet where we want to reduce any waste in our operations, and the fund is a good way to do that. Things that we can't sell in store, then we have sort of an outlet on site and online solution for that as well. We also have, I mean, we try to do rental, like occasional wear rental. If you have a wedding to go to, and you want to hire a nice or a bit more out there dress, that can be done also stone throw away from here at Regent Street. So if you don't have anything to do after this, you can go down there and check it out. But also we work with sort of take care programs. We try to educate our customers how to take care of their garments, to also make it last longer. So how do you wash it? How can you repair it if it's broken? We also do have some in-store repair solutions, mainly in Sweden, but we also try that to make sure that you can bring your stuff in. It could be H&M clothing or any other brand, and we can help you make sure that it prolongs its life. Again, this is, of course, something that, and I think that the main part of circularity is also making sure that the material that we use gets recycled. So instead of using virgin material all the time, we can hopefully circulate back more material into the value chain. This is sort of something that needs a lot more work. We need to figure out how to do material to material recycling better when it comes to mixed materials, for example, or different other materials. So, but it's definitely the way forward to make sure that we sort of reduce our impact.
And you also make it very visible then, if you talked about that the upstream is difficult to convey to consumers, then seeing something in store that you can actually repair, that of course makes it much more clear that this is the sustainable alternative.
Yeah, I mean, and this goes back a little bit to what you were talking about, but the sort of the communication around sustainability and how to sort of bring it to the customers. Because I mean, we talk a lot about business to business, and business to business it's not easy. I know it's not, but usually when you have a business to business customer, that customer also has climate goals, reduction goals. So they are very interested in sort of working with this and saying, okay, how can you help me reduce my impact? Our customers, normally, maybe the 10% Eric was talking about might have it, but normally they don't have any climate goals. There's regular people going about their business trying to make sort of salary last for a month, and that's the goal they have. So we need to find ways to communicate with them to explain why we need to do this shift, and also why it sometimes means that we have to do the investments to do it, and that means it could be a bit less affordable, but it is to make the shift. Because if we can't make that shift, we can't explain why, then we won't have resources to invest, and then there won't be any change. So and the green claims, I'm not going to go into the green claims directive, because then we will be here all night and no one wants that. But it's good that it's regulated, don't get me wrong, but it's concerning that we regulate it into silence, or potentially could do that.
I'm going to start to invite questions here. First, I just want to hear from you, of course, Johanna, to add, given that you are B2B here, do you see that it helps your case that actually a lot of your customers do have climate goals or sustainability goals?
Yes, I think it probably does. I agree with you. And we see that we deal with public procurement and big companies. And I would say that those types of organizations are the ones that put the most requirements on us, our products, and with their own, if it's climate goals or if it's specific product requirements, for example. So yeah, that's a good thing.
I saw a question here in the back.
Hi, I'm Jill. My question is for Marcus. Thanks a lot for talking about textile waste. My dress is from Selfie. I'm a big fan. But I wanted to ask you, in terms of textile waste and recycling and upcycling, a lot of the examples you mentioned are in the global north. And we have this issue in the global south as well. And the production, especially for H&M, a lot of it happens in Asia, for example. So what kind of initiatives have you looked at in that region, and to also help those economies deal with waste or recycling technology, for example?
We work very closely with our suppliers. We don't own the factories. We have a lot of suppliers, of course. We work very closely with them, as I said, working to decarbonize the supply chain. We have a whole team that works with what we call green investments, to do investments to move from fossil-based energy to renewable energy. We still have a few suppliers that have coal boilers on their sites. We're helping them to take them away. We don't take on any new ones, but the ones we have, we help supporting them to remove that. We're also in dialogue with governments in these areas to sort of, can we help them, support them shifting their whole energy system to a renewable system. We do what we call power purchase agreements, where we invest in, for example, solar panel farms by committing to buying energy when they are in place. So we do a lot of things in the supply chain, because I mean, at the end of the day, the circularity side, we need to work on that, but we also will at some point produce the garments. So the production has to be decarbonized. It has to be more sustainable as well. So we're working across the whole value chain. And going back again to your question, I mean, that's where a lot of the work happens. That's a lot of difference happens. I mean, we have between 90 and 95% of our scope 3 emissions is in the supply chain. So that's where we need to work. So we do a lot of things, and it's super important for us. Then again, it comes back to, we have to do everything. We have the fortunate of being a big company who can make a big difference in these countries, because when we do this, it also affects other textile companies who can use the same suppliers as we do. So we try to work all across.
Oh, many questions here. Yes. Let's do it here, then in the middle.
Hi, sorry, this is for Marcus. So sorry for putting you on the spot for a second time. I used to work in the fashion tech industry, looking at online returns. And I noticed recently that H&M, I think this September, have announced that they're going to start charging people to return items. When I was in the sector, it was one of the biggest problems that people would buy multiple items of different sizes of the same item, just so that they could try them on at home and then send them back. So it's far more sustainable for people to shop in store. I just wondered whether you anticipate a drop-off in online sales, adding in this cost to return items, and whether you're trying to drive people back to the physical stores.
Very relevant and interesting questions. I think it's a bit premature. As you're saying, this is a quite recent initiative that we do, and it's about sort of charging for online returns for our customers who are not members. And of course, you can go into the stores and do returns still as normal. But I think you're pointing to an issue that I think a lot of companies are seeing when also this is a shifting behavior going from physical stores. It was accelerated by the pandemic, of course. But I mean, it's something I think everyone is seeing, and it's something that we need to look into, because of course transportation is a big driver when it comes to emission. Again, I mean, it's a behavior I think that we will see. So we also need to look, I mean, into transportation side as well. It's interesting to your rights initiatives to electrify it, to see what can we work with. And also, again, going back to what we need to do on our side, making sure that sizes are understandable. It's easy to measure yourself and then put it in them, and then you get like the right sizes when you buy as well. So part of it is also on us.
I have only time for one more question, and then Eric as well. I remember you. So if we do the final question here.
Hi, I have a question for Marcus as well. I'm sorry. I was just wondering if you could say something about how H&M works from a sort of social perspective. So in terms of modern slavery, sort of human rights, and making sure that those in your supply chain are paid a decent living wage. Anything about that?
Yeah, I mean, I can talk about that for a long time. I realize we have a short time, but the sort of very quick sort of generative answer is that, yeah, we work with this very much. We work together with global trade unions, Industry All, and we also work with a union called IF Metall in Sweden, which is the Swedish major union, to make sure that the workers in our production line are paid living wages, that they have decent working conditions. We make sure that they have a right to organize in these places and similar. So we do have a comprehensive program around that as well, because we know that we are relying on these people to produce our garments. And if we don't treat them fairly, then that's going to be an issue. So we have to do this sort of to make sure that we have these productions in the future as well, and make it sort of sustainable long term for them to see this as a viable option.
And I think that for you, Johanna, as well, that is of course a key topic as well when you're working with your supply chain.
Yeah, absolutely. It's both in our own production and ensuring that we have good conditions. And for example, we are occupational health certified, but also very much in the supply chain where the bigger risks are, even though most of our suppliers are located in Europe, with human rights due diligence is a really important topic of ours.
Okay, one final thing here. Of course.
Yeah, I mean, I realize it sounds a bit maybe something like, yeah, we look into everything and we look into all we can do. Just to be clear, I mean, H&M is a big company. I mean, we're working with sustainability for such a long time. We have over 300 people in our organization who are solely working with sustainability in all different areas, ranging from chemicals, water, social responsibility, climate, CO2 emissions. We have this. And this, I mean, sometimes you're like, oh, as everything, a big stock traded company, are they really into this, or do they really mean anything? But behind all this, behind the logo, behind the stocks and everything, there's a lot of people who actually are sort of really engaged in these issues, who really take this importantly. And I mean, at the end of the day, and it's going to sound gloomy way to end, sorry, but at the end of the day, this is about long-term sustainability for businesses as well. We want to prosper for a long time. And if we don't have anywhere to live, if we don't have this, if it's global warming and, sorry, shit hits the fan, then we have no business left anyway. So we need to work with this, and we do this, and we are quite passionate about it as well.
True. And to end then on a good note, I'll want to hear the songs that you have selected. So Johanna, do you want to go first?
It was a tough choice, but I had to go with a Swedish band called Kite and Johnny Boy. The drums in the beginning puts me in a good mood.
Haven't heard. Interesting. Okay,
listen to it.
Yeah. Marcus?
I grew up in the 90s. One of the things that I was really into and made me move to London back in '96 was Britpop and that kind of sort of indie alternative music in the 90s. So my song is going to be Blur and Girls and Boys.
Nice one. And
also to be a bit so you like me more if you're from the UK.
Yes.
Yes, all right. So I figured it out. I listen to this all the time. So it's actually Queen live at Wembley 1986 with Under Pressure.
Oh, nice. Because we kind of are.
Yes.
Really. Yes. Yeah. Thank you so much. Now you'll get a break with Nick instead of